So, my friends, again I say it's a nice hot day outside there. And if you're not hot, I am sorry for you because I'm going to tell you something. John Sports Corner is hot. So, John, over to the hot zone.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. A very good afternoon to you, Trevor, and to our family here on the Sosa Bone Media Network, the global Caribbean media capital. Let
Yes.
me remind you to go to the Winner Circle radio store in the Sosa Bone shop and shop till you drop. You know, there are t-shirts there are backpacks there. You can get sorrel, and of course, you can pick up a mug and fill it with the great Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee. And of course, you see the logo is on the mug. And the logo
Yes.
comes on all the things that you buy in the Sosa Bone shop.
Yes.
Let me also let us talk sports, Trevor. As usual, we start with birthdays. Yesterday, Roshan Clark, world youth record holder over 400 hurdles. And just recently, last weekend, the national champion now in 400 hurdles in Jamaica.
Uh-huh.
Chester Watson also celebrated a birthday yesterday. He played in only the Melbourne second test in
Uh-huh.
that memorable 1960-61 Test Seat Tour of Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and the book that came out that said cricket's brightest summer. So
Mm.
Chester, and I actually, Trevor, a few years ago, I had the privilege of having lunch with Chester Watson. And,
Mm.
it was really a memorable occasion for me just talking cricket with Chester.
You remember what he ate, John?
No, sir. It was, it was, it's so far back, Trevor, as a matter of fact, at the time, it was my good friend, Lloyd Scott, who started the U.S. cricket umpires here in the United States, who had invited me to come to lunch with him and Chester.
Okay.
And, and God bless Scotty. Scotty has passed on now a few years. But,
Mm-hmm.
Scotty and myself went back to our days at Casher Park Road in Mullines Road
Oh,
as
yes.
youngsters. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But also, celebrating a birthday yesterday, Carl Lewis, the U.S. Olympic gold medalist.
Uh-huh.
And today, Herbert Chang, Jamaica, former Jamaica and West Indies cricketer,
Mm-hmm.
celebrates a birthday tomorrow. Billy Doctrove, out of Dominica, West Indies, and ICC elite umpire celebrates a birthday. And Billy is now involved with the Olympic movement in Dominica.
Okay.
Now that he has retired as an umpire.
Okay.
Also celebrating tomorrow, Chadwick Walton, Jamaica and West Indies cricketer. Ryan Ramdas, former Guyana and West Indies cricketer, celebrates a birthday tomorrow. And on Monday, Leron Clark, former athlete out of Jamaica, celebrates a birthday.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
before I talk track and field, I just want to remind our listeners that Len Chambers' book, Hall of Famer Len Chambers,
Yes.
My Life in Cricket, through the years, My Life in Cricket is still out there and available on Amazon. So, guys, you can still get a copy of the Len Chambers book. Really was a nice book. And we spent quite a few hours talking to them about this book some
Yes.
time ago. Let's talk track and field.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
National Association of Jamaica Olympians paid tribute to several of the country's Olympic heroes,
Uh-huh.
both on the field of play and behind the scenes at the Alhambra Inn in Kingston on Monday.
Uh-huh.
Ruth Williams Simpson, who represented Jamaica in 3 Olympic Games,
Mm-hmm.
Munich 1972, Montreal 1976, and Moscow 1980,
Uh-huh.
revealed even back then the struggles of athletes with the Jamaica athletics body.
Oh my.
she gave thanks to the late Olympian Michael Frey, who started her Olympic journey by chance.
Oh.
She said Mike came scouting one sports day at her primary school in St. Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And when he saw her, he said, "You with them long legs, you must can run." And the rest is history. She spoke of some of the challenges she encountered during her career
Mm-hmm.
and mentioned the difficult travel conditions faced by Jamaican athletes
Mm-hmm.
on their return home from the 1974 Commonwealth Games. That when she shared that story with the Gleaner, she was blacklisted and
Mm-hmm.
excluded from the team for the 1975 CSE Games,
Mm-hmm.
despite qualifying times that would have won her medals. She credited the late Herb McKinley in bringing her back into the national setup.
Mm-hmm.
And Herb was such a nice guy, and I might have mentioned this before too, Trevor. But Herb was he was such a nice guy to speak to. And I remember before Herb transitioned that he was at we were at a function out on Long Island. They were honoring him. And this fellow journalist from the Caribbean, came up to Herb and said, "Oh, Mr. McKinley, may I have a word with you?"
Mm-hmm.
And Herb turned to me and said, "John, tell him to call me Herb." Anyway, Trevor, the honorees on the night were swimmers Alan Marsh, Andrew Phillips, and Belinda Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
Athletes Ruth William Simpson,
Mm-hmm.
Lilith Hodges,
Mm-hmm.
Henry Jackson, therapist, or should I say, I should mention Leighton, of course, athlete Leighton Priestley,
Mm-hmm.
Dorothy Scott Janias, physical therapists, Marcia Swire Forbes, Patricia Luchin, and Janet Ricketts, and Jamaica's premier track and field starter, Ludlow Watts. In
Okay.
her closing remarks, Trevor, Ruth Williams Simpson said, "Let us continue to run our race, not just for medals, but for meaning. And may
Um,
our stories together continue to build Jamaica's rich Olympic legacy."
yes.
I don't know if that was pointed at the athletes jumping ship.
Well, I'm glad. I am happy, John, that after all these years, we have the platform in place and the technology where she can share her story, John,
Yeah.
and have it immortalized now on John Sports Corner.
Mhm. I'll try to reach her, Trevor. Definitely.
Yes.
The Jamaican National Junior and Senior Track and Field Championships done and dusted, and Jamaican athletes reminded the world that while there is no Usain Bolt or Safa Powell or
Mm-hmm.
Johan Blake, the
Mm-hmm.
cupboard isn't bare,
Mm-hmm.
and there are new kids on the block.
Oh, yes.
So let's talk men's 100-meter first.
Oh,
The
yes.
1-2-3 finish was not really surprising, with
Uh-huh.
Olympic silver medalist Kishane Thompson, the winner, in a
Mm-hmm.
personal best 9.5 seconds, 9.75 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Oblique Seville, second in 9.83 seconds, and
Closing.
Akeem Blake, third in 9.88.
Uh-huh.
Fourth place finisher was Raheem Ford in 9.98. So the top four finishers went sub 10.
Sub 10. Mm.
The other finish, however, may have been a little different had Brian Level who clocked 9.94 seconds in the semifinal, not slowed toward the end of the race because of a leg issue he was feeling.
Ah.
The good news, he showed up the following day for the 200, and there was no recognizable issue with his leg, except to say he wasn't asked to go full throttle.
Uh-huh.
Another interesting scenario before the start of that men's final. Just after the athletes got down on their marks, Oblique Seville motioned to the starter that something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And the starter got them up as Seville was apparently experiencing a cramp or some leg issue.
Okay.
And the race was held up while he got treatment to his leg on the field.
Glad his trainer was there.
And with all that going on, we were never expecting him to run, especially that well when the race got going. Makes me wonder, though, Trevor, if
Yes.
Oblique Seville has a. In last year's Olympic final, he picked up an injury during the final. And in 2023 World Championship final,
Mm-hmm.
he finished fourth when he was expected to medal.
Mm-hmm.
On the women's side, we probably witnessed the changing of the guard, with Tina Clayton winning her first national senior 100-meter title
Oh, oh
in
yes.
10.81 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
With the old guard, Sharika Jackson second in 10.88 seconds, and
Uh-huh.
Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price third in 10.91 seconds.
She qualifies, John.
I didn't think Shelly looked her usual explosive self at the start of the race, Trevor. And in fact, in a post-race interview, she admitted that she has work to do.
Yes.
Yes, she qualified. And Shelley has qualified for every senior championship she has entered since 2007.
Wow.
Remember, 2007, she was a new kid on the block,
Yes.
and she qualified for the women's 4x100-meter relay.
Durability. Ooh.
Here again, too, had Tia Clayton
Uh-huh.
not pulled up because
Mm-hmm.
of injury, the 1-2-3 finish in the women's 100 might have been a little different.
Yes.
And it was
Yes.
unfortunate to see Tia go down.
Yes.
And, I think that also weakens our 4x1 relay team.
Yes.
As far as disappointments for me, Trevor, Brianna Williams hasn't made the team. And to add insult to injury, she false started in the women's 200 final.
Oh my. Oh my.
I was also disappointed with the um, showing of Serena Cole, who was one of our young premier sprinters going back with the Clayton twins at Clarendon College. I'm sorry, not Clarendon College. At oh boy, how can that slip me now, Trevor? But I'll get back to it. And
Mm.
and also for Alana Reed,
Mm-hmm.
who ran with Heidel. However, if the J3s go top 6 from the 100 final in the relay pool, then Alana is in. The
Mm-hmm.
200s were not as spectacular. Brian Leville again won the 200s in 20.10, which is under the qualifying time for World Championships. And of course, we have seen him gone 19-point change.
Yes.
But I think he might have just running enough to win the race based on what took place the previous day in the 100 final.
Mm-hmm.
And Christopher Taylor, who chose the 100 and 200 instead of the 400, was second in the 200 in 20.28 seconds. And it was really good seeing Christopher Taylor racing again after coming back from that suspension. And he's actually young enough still to try for the 2027 World Championship and the 2028 Olympic Games. I think 2028 he will be 29. Christopher is like, what, 25 or somewhere around there now. Ashanti Moore won the 200 for women in 22.66, just shy of the qualifying mark for the World Championship, which is 22.57 seconds, with Gabriel Matthews second in 22.80 seconds. Tell you what, let's go to a break, but we will come back with more Jamaica National Championships. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to John's Sports Corner on the Sosofat Media Network, the global Caribbean media capital. And continuing with Jamaica's national championships, national 400-meter record holder Rashid McDonald won the men's 400 in 44.89 seconds, just shy of the qualifying time of 44.85. But Trevor, he did one of the stupidest things I've seen a experienced and quality athlete do. About 10 meters or so from the tape, he slowed appreciably and started celebrating and was almost caught by Delano Kennedy on the wire. Had he run that last 10 meters, I think he would have gotten the qualifying time for the World Championships because he was just ticks of a second off the time. Now I think he has to find races in which to run to meet that qualifying standard, or finish in positions where his ranking will get him in to the World Championship 400. Nikisha Price was the winner of the women's 400 in 49.97 seconds. Dejanay Oakley second in 50.08 seconds. Stacey Ann Williams third in 50.08. All three ladies inside the qualifying time for the women's 400. Natoya Gould-Toppin dethroned as women's 800 champion of Jamaica. The race was won actually by St. Vincent and the Grenadines' Shafiqua Maloney in 1 minute 59.81 seconds. Kellyanne Beckford was second in 2 minutes flat 23 seconds, 0.23 seconds actually. And so wears the crown as the 2025 national champion of Jamaica in the women's 800 meters. However, Natoya Gould-Toppin wears the crown as she trained actually Beckford for third in the race, but second in for Jamaica. And she has already, in fact, achieved the World Championship standard of 1 minute 57 seconds. Perhaps the other development took place in both sprint hurdles. Rashid Broadbell reportedly injured himself, Trevor, while warming up for the final and applied for a medical exemption. That certainly opened the door for the men's 110 hurdles, of which Orlando Bennett took full advantage of and won in 13.10 seconds. The Mario Prince was second in 13.12, Tyler Mason third in 13.22.
Mm.
All three are under the World Championship qualifying standard of 13.27 seconds.
Oh my.
Will the J3As leave Broadbell off the World Championship team? Or if he is selected, because, he won the bronze medal in the Olympics last year, and if he is selected, then it means that Tyler Mason, who came third in the race, could lose his spots on the World Championship team.
Yeah, and that would be sad because he ran.
Iran.
Yeah.
Well, the medical exemption. Also, a less than stellar performance by Olympic gold medalist Hansa Parchment in the 110 hurdles final. He clattered a hurdle early in the race and never recovered.
Mm.
In the women's 100 hurdles, again, Megan Tapper, the first woman in the English-speaking Caribbean to win an Olympic medal when she
Mm.
got the bronze in the Olympic Games.
Mm.
She won in 12.34 seconds, with pre-race favorite Akira Nugent second in 12.41,
Wow.
and Amoy Brown surprised a lot of people, placing third in 12.67 seconds. All three of our ladies again coming
Oh,
under the World Championship qualifying time of 12.73 seconds.
that's gonna be some interesting finals, Don.
Trevor, you know, I bought the package because I had to see our national. I have to see our national championships. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want anybody to tell me about anything
Mm-hmm.
because I like to draw my own opinions and conclusions
Right.
from what I see. Anyway, with our leading field eventers taking steps to change allegiance, and world champion medalist Tajay Gale missing in action, there was no real spark in any of the field events.
Mm.
With Wayne Pinnock seeking a change of allegiance and Tajay Gale granted a medical exemption, there was no real competition for Kerry McLeod, who won the men's long jump with a leap of 8.16 meters and was the only jumper to break 8 meters.
Mm-hmm.
While Olympic silver medalist Shanika Ricketts won the women's triple jump in 14.52 meters, her seventh national title. Jordan Scott won the men's triple jump with a leap of 17.15 meters,
Uh-huh.
just below the World Championship qualifying mark of 17.22 meters.
Ooh.
Ralford Mullings won the discus with a toss of 65.82 meters, which was under the World Championship qualifying mark of 67.50 meters.
Oh boy.
However, earlier this year, he won the NCAA championships with a toss of 69.31 meters, way over the qualifying mark for
Oh.
the World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
And Trevor, while I enjoyed the juniors, my focus was really on the seniors.
Mm-hmm.
However, I must say that the national record for under 18 400 meters set by Sandy Richards in 1987 of 50.42 seconds still stands.
Oh, it's not in jeopardy.
And our youngsters, Trevor, aren't coming close
Mm-hmm.
to the record. Madison Campbell of Homewood won the race in a personal best,
Mm-hmm.
54.42 seconds.
Ah.
Now, lest we forget, Jamaica's men's 4x100 meter relay team, the women's 4x4 and the mixed 4x4 relays have yet to qualify for the Tokyo World Championship. However, again, Jamaica have identified, or should I say the J3As have identified 3 windows of opportunity in which they will make an attempt to qualify teams. And
Mhm.
those opportunities are in Barbados on July 5th.
Mhm.
July 19th, the London Diamond League will also host relays.
Mhm.
And finally, NACAC Senior Championships, August 15th through the 17th, the final opportunity. Again, the J3's biggest problem will be the availability of athletes.
Aha.
Woolmer sprinter Abigail Wolf will be wearing the colors of Texas Longhorns next season. She
Mhm.
has a personal best of 7.64 seconds over 60 meters, 11.59 over the 100 meters, and 23.91 over 200s.
Mhm.
Let's talk some Diamond League now. The women's 100 in Saturday's Prefontaine Classic looks like a precursor to the Tokyo World Championship final.
Oh.
Get this, the field includes the gold medalist from last year's Olympic Games, Julian Alfred,
Mhm.
Jamaica's 2025 100-meter national champion, Tina Clayton,
Mhm.
Shikari Richardson,
Mm.
Melissa Jefferson,
Oh.
Wooden, Tonisha Terry, all of the US, Great Britain's Dina Asher Smith, Nigeria's Favia Ofili,
Mhm.
and Ivory Coast, Marie Jose Talu Smith. I mean, you could not throw a better field, Trevor.
Oh
It's
my.
whether it's World Championship final or Olympic final.
Mm.
I think maybe the only people who might be missing from that field are Sharika Jackson and Shelley and Fraser Price.
Mhm.
So I don't know who you'll drop out from that field for those two. The
Oh my.
men's field just as imposing and includes Jamaica's 2025 national champion and Olympic 100-meter silver medalist Kishane Thompson, as well as Akeem Blake,
Mhm.
Christian Coleman, Trayvon Bromfield, Jeremiah Azu,
Mm.
Brandon Hinklin, Zarnell Hughes, of course, from Great Britain, Lachlan Kennedy, and Bayanda Walaza out of South Africa.
So what happened to Seville?
No, he's not entered.
Okay.
And they handle him very carefully, Trevor,
Mhm.
because he seemed to come down with leg injuries quite often. So he has to be you have to be careful how you handle him
Mhm.
and where you have him racing.
Mhm.
But he has run a few races already this year, before the national championships.
Okay.
Um, they also scheduled for the 200, Trevor, are Trinidad and Tobago's Jereme Richards, Olympic
Mhm.
gold medalist Letsili Tibogo of Botswana, and Kenny Bednarek of the US.
Okay.
So, it's a good field. Um, and it should be a good meet. Of course, it's one of the Diamond League meets that you look forward to every year, the Prefontaine Classic.
Yes.
And usually there are usually some big times that run.
But
Anyway, great.
John, we seem to be having some top class athletes, especially among the women, who will not be attending some of the events because they are not in the top three or top four. And some of them that are not attending have better times than some of the athletes from other countries.
Yeah, but it's in like in the Diamond League, Trevor, is where your coach choose to
Yes.
outside of national. outside of World Championship and Olympic Games, which you have to qualify for.
Mm.
Your club coaches select the meets that they want you to run in,
Yes.
or like Diamond League, you might be invited, and the coach say yes or no. You know, so a lot of time when you don't see some of our athletes running is because, well, maybe it's not on their program. Because don't forget, these coaches now, Trevor, map out your program for the year,
Right.
and what meets they want to hit, and where they want you to peak for national championships, for world championships, or for Olympic Games.
That is true. They manage.
Everything else,
They're managing their time very well.
everything else is secondary, Trevor.
Okay, but tell
Because
me
as I
something.
said to you, Olympic Games and World Championships is where you sign your money contract.
All right, now tell me something, John. Jamaica, I think right now has about 8 or 9 women who could qualify for the Olympics in the 100. I mean, we,
No, I don't think it's that much, Trevor.
well, you know, some of the athletes that are in 8, 9, or 10 spots, John, they don't even get recognized because the field is so packed in front of them that, oh, you know, I mean, you look at the Clayton twins who are interchangeable, John. Okay,
Hmm.
I mean, we are talking about. We're not even talking about Elaine Thompson, Era Thompson, era who is training but is not really running right now, and some other athletes that we know are in the pipeline. Okay, so they're looking at them as 2 years down the road, but they're not getting the exposure at Olympics level because you're 2 seconds behind the fourth spot, and that is based on your performance on race day.
Yeah.
On race day, you came in
But
fifth.
remember, I said to Trevor, that I was disappointed in what I saw from Alana Reed
Exactly.
and what's her name, Williams, that they didn't, because and both of them are under 20 world champions.
Yes,
And those world championships are 2, 3 years behind them now.
that's right. So the
You
question
know,
is, I mean, you look at the Olympics and you say, okay, relays, 100 meter. Is a country allowed to have 2 Olympic teams in the 100?
no.
Oh, hey, you see, that's my point. So if you end up having the two Claytons and Sharika and
Shelly.
Shelley, then you have people sitting there who are better, John, than teams that are competing from other countries.
Yeah, but
This is why no, this is
I don't think the Olympic movement going to go
well,
there.
well, well you see, it is things like this, John, that
Yeah.
is gonna promote the purchasing of athletes like Turkey, because listen, the, if they go to run for Turkey, they're gonna be in the Olympics. If they run if they're running for Jamaica, they're watching the Olympics because yes, ahead of them are 4 persons who are faster than them. But if they're running for Turkey, they're the
Yeah.
fastest. Okay,
And then they become an Olympian, eh?
and then they become an Olympian. That is my point. Okay,
Uh, yeah.
that
Yeah.
is my point. When we
Yeah.
look at basketball, John, and the guys who sits on the bench, John, when the team wins the championship, they get rings.
Yeah.
They get rings, John. Okay,
Yeah.
football, same thing. Athletics don't have a bench.
Even the guys who, well, athletics is different though, Trevor. And in football, in basketball, players have guaranteed contracts. Track and field, as far as I know, I don't know any athlete that has a guaranteed contract. because when the sportswear giants sign you, there are also incentive clauses in there.
Yes,
Or
yes.
and if you want to call it decentive clauses,
Yeah, but
like if
my
you don't make a national team, or if you don't run a certain time or jump a certain distance, you lose money.
yes, but you see, my concern, John, is this: that when you look at the Olympics, like the last one we looked at, and we looked at Team America and Team France and Team Germany and teams in Ukraine, we're talking about teams. And on those teams, you had guys who were sitting on the bench who got an Olympic ring. But when it comes to track and field, track and field is not a team sport. Okay? It's an
But
individual
and
sport.
and I see what, yeah, Trevor. But one thing I've always thought about in in the Olympic Games, that if you get to a final, every athlete who gets to the final should get something.
Yes.
Whether it's a piece of wood, a leaf, a twig,
Yes.
to 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 celebrate getting to the final,
That is right.
and not just gold, silver, and bronze.
Right. Because before the race starts, John, they know that there were only one person gonna get a gold medal.
Hmm.
And there are a lot of people who are running against Usain Bolt, who knows, John, when they line up in the stands, based on past performance, they're not gonna finish in front of Shellyan or Usain. Okay? Yet they're coming down the tracks, lungs bursting, gasping for air. And when they come in fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh, the cameras ignores them. They don't exist.
That's right. The only the winners.
So you can well understand, therefore, that at a certain point, they understand that they will not be in the first three. And if somebody comes knocking on their door and say, well, we will take you from being a spectator to being a participator, we'll take you from being broke to having a bank account, okay, then logically you have to say that it makes sense that the offer was made
Mhm.
and it makes sense that the offer was accepted. Okay. How do you explain to your family that for love of being a spectator, they have to suffer economical consequences? When it comes to other category of jobs, John, if you're an accountant and you get an offer from another company that is better than the one you're working with,
Mhm.
you're gone.
You say adios.
Adios.
And you're true, Trevor, because you look at even what has happened now with our athletes changing allegiance, with two in particular,
Mhm.
Roger Stoner, Olympic gold medalist, Rajendra Campbell, Olympic bronze medalist, and they don't have any kind of country, nobody approach them. So I'm wrong with that. Mark, field eventers don't have the same notoriety as sprinters. We know that. But you going to tell me an Olympic gold medalist, Trevor, uh, um, oh, even in Jamaica, no company approached him as a so-called ambassador or something like that,
Right,
and offer him some kind of contract. Eh?
right. So no,
No.
I have to. You see, we have to be fair and stop letting our emotion cloud our judgment. Okay, I mean, I used to tell my kids a long time ago that if I consider myself to belong to one party and I have two neighbors, one is on the one is the blue party and one is the red party, and they know that I am the blue party. If you're in danger, you go knock on the blue party's door and he doesn't let you in. What do? Go knock on the red party's door. And that is how democracy runs. That's why you change presidents from a red president to a blue president.
Are you
Okay?
are you are you not on the Green Party door?
Yes. You knock on the green party
Uh,
door. Okay?
Orange.
And we practice this every day in everything we
Yeah.
do. Except
Mm,
when somebody is a athlete and a company come and say to them, we will offer you more than they are paying you now. And suddenly nationalistic
pride.
pride is brought into the picture. Even if that person does not have a home, cannot pay off their student loan,
Mhm.
and have nothing to show that they are independent.
Mhm.
And the people who are criticizing them, most of the time, they are well secured, John.
Yeah. Anyway, Trevor, let me just finish up on the Diamond League middle of the uh the Prefontaine Classic.
Mhm.
Grenada's many-time Olympian and World Championship medalist Kirani James in the men's 400 meter, while Jamaica's Dejanay Oakley goes in the women's equivalent.
Mhm.
Jamaicans Assini Wilson and Malik James King will compete in the 400 hurdles. Two-time world champion Daniel Williams and fellow Jamaican Akira Nugent in the women's 100 hurdles.
Mhm.
In field events, Olympic gold medalist Roger Stoner and 2025 NCAA champion Ralford Mullings in the discus, while Akira Smith listed in the long jump.
Uh,
Let's go to another break. As a matter of fact, let's take a Formula One stop here, Trevor, and we will come back with a lot cricket, lovely cricket.